So we do have some kind of breaking news here. Now, what's going on right now, a lot of the headlines right now are currently being dominated by AOC and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene, if you guys don't know, is a representative from Georgia. She's a QAnoner, basically said that Nancy Pelosi should have had a bullet in her head, anti-Semitic conspiracies, Islamophobic conspiracies, just crazy stuff. But more importantly than any of the crazy QAnon stuff or whatever, it's actually more the threats that she's put on the lives of members of government. And that's kind of what's being left out here, is the distinction between the two, right? It's crazy and kooky enough that she believes in the QAnon stuff and all that crazy shit. But really, the reason for expelling her from Congress would be that she's putting the lives of other congressional members in danger. She also doesn't follow rules by not wearing masks in the past. So keep that in mind, okay? She's actively made death threats towards other members, especially with the squad, with the way that she's holding her gun in the videos and then having pictures of the squad and stuff like that. But what's going on is McCarthy, who's the minority leader in the House, says McCarthy announces no disciplinary actions against Greene. It says, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy announced no disciplinary actions against Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene in a statement released as he met with his caucus. During the meeting, he told members he did not want to remove Greene from her committee assignment, according to a senior GOP source in the room. In the statement, McCarthy condemned her incendiary remarks, but offered no disciplinary actions. Quote, past comments from and endorsed by Marjorie Taylor Greene on school shootings, political violence, and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories do not represent the values or beliefs of the House Republican Conference. I condemn those comments unequivocally. I condemned them in the past. I continue to condemn them today. This House condemned QAnon last Congress and continues to do so today. Says McCarthy met with Greene on Tuesday, and the GOP leader said he gave her the same message. I made this clear to Marjorie when we met. Also made clear that as a member of Congress, we have a responsibility to hold ourselves to a higher standard than how she presented herself as a private citizen. Her past comments now have much greater meaning. Marjorie recognized this in our conversation. I hold her to her word as well as her actions going forward. The House is set to vote on removing Greene from her committee assignments on Thursday. This is crazy. She is a member of the Education and Labor Committee. Jesus Christ. A point of scrutiny given her past statements suggesting school shootings were staged to build the case for gun control. So listen, right? So there's a bunch of different levels to this, okay? So what they're doing here is there's a debate about removing her from her committee assignments. I think she should be completely expelled from Congress. But right now, the minority leader in the House, Kevin McCarthy, isn't even down to remove her from her committee assignments. And do you know why I think that is? It's reported that Trump was talking to Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Trump was prodding her because Greene is basically Trump's offshoot and just a complete worshiper of Donald Trump. And you got to remember, Trump still has a lot of influence, even post everything that's happened with a lot of House representatives, because in these House district races, your electorate could be made up a lot of Trump supporters, or the amount of Trump supporters in that district could be a swing vote for you, right? And so you're afraid of backlash from your own constituency. And so what that means is they have to be really careful when it comes to Donald Trump and what they say about Donald Trump. So I think Trump is also in Kevin McCarthy's ear. That's the only explanation for this. There is no other explanation other than Trump is directly talking to him, or B, he's scared of the backlash of Trump supporters. Those are the only two reasons here, rationales. Okay, and interestingly enough, it actually goes on here. It says Senate GOP leaders have condemned Greene forcefully, but have no power on her committee assignments. Loony lies and conspiracy theories are cancer for the Republican Party in our country, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Oh man, it sounds great to say Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said in a statement first shared with The Hill on Monday. Other Republicans have offered support for Greene keeping her assignment. So basically, McConnell is against Marjorie Taylor Greene, but the Senate doesn't have power when it comes to the House's internal affairs, so he can't do anything about it. Would he vote against it? I don't know. Against her being on the committees? I don't know. From her comment, that's what it sounds. His comment, that's what it sounds like. So to me, a lot of this just goes back to Trump, right? And I think a lot of Democrats are actually supportive of her being in office because they think it makes Republicans an easier target. I think that it's really a danger to the institution to have these looming death threats towards current congressional members, and it really just sort of destroys the entire institution. Congress does indeed have the power internally in each chamber of Congress, each house of Congress. They can expel their own members by 2/3 vote. So I am expecting that. I want them to expel. I shouldn't say expect, but they're having trouble just getting her off the fucking committees. That's how insane this is at this point. It says House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer rejected a deal proposed by McCarthy to remove her from the Education and Labor Committee but allow her to remain on the House Budget Panel. Hoyer announced shortly after his conversation with McCarthy that Democrats would move forward with a floor vote to strip her of her committee posts, a difficult vote for Republicans in swing districts. I spoke to Leader McCarthy this morning, and it is clear there is no alternative to holding a floor vote on the resolution to remove Representative Greene from her committee assignments. The Rules Committee will meet this afternoon, and the House will vote on the resolution tomorrow. It says McCarthy's handling of the Greene situation was met with frustrations from some in the party, arguing he should have acted faster to prevent the controversy from dragging it out. There's no other way to slice this. McCarthy completely screwed this up and threw the conference under the bus in the process. It's the job of the leader to protect members from bad floor votes. He could have dealt with this a week ago, and his inability to ever take a position allowed Democrats to make this decision for him and put our members in the absolute worst position possible, one GOP operative said following Hoyer's announcement of the vote. So that doesn't even sound like that GOP operative is against Marjorie Taylor Greene. Sounds like a support for Marjorie Taylor Greene. But what has to be essentially understood here is this is the beginning of the post-Trumpian era. And what I mean by that is the Republican Party is going to be faced with a conundrum because a lot of them are worried about their short-term interest for re-election. You got to remember, House races are up every 2 years, you know what I'm saying? So you're going election, basically in like a snap of a finger. And so basically what that really means is, the Republican Party is going to have to figure out where they're going from here. Are they going to latch on to Trump's nuts? Are they going to allow some members to do that? Are they going to completely go through like when the Soviet Union went through de-Stalinization with Khrushchev? Is that what they're going to do? I don't know. But it seems like there's clearly a battle going on with Mitch McConnell saying, fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene, but McCarthy is protecting her. So the House has always been more on Trump's nuts than the Senate has been because Senate races are statewide, so it's much more diverse of a vote pockets, whereas a House vote, it's really a lot of them are kind of clean-cut dry. And so if you're not humping Trump's nuts, you're in trouble, right? So what is going to happen here? I think Democrats will definitely vote her out of those committee assignments. I think all they need is a majority vote. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. But I do think she'll be removed from those committee assignments. But I would hope that they would bring up a vote to expel her from Congress. I think she's really left them no option. Again, the expelling is not really about her crazy, kooky ideas. It's the looming death threats that she has made in the past and really continues to make towards sitting members of Congress, which brings the institution in danger, essentially. And that's the whole purpose of expelling someone. So definitely hope she gets expelled. But at this point, if they can't even seem to get her out of the committee assignments, I don't know how they're going to expel her.